Hello there. Having kind of a typical Monday morning here. So, doing one of these a little differently. I went and saw Passengers last night and didn't take my laptop because I was hanging out with a friend. And I didn't feel like doing it at midnight. So we're doing this as a Drive to White Station review. This is the last of the my holiday catch-up. You know, of all those films that came out in that Christmas block there that I didn't get to see. So hopefully the next time I do one of these, it'll be for a movie that's actually been released in 2017. So, kind of saved the best for last, in my opinion. I think if I'd seen this one before I'd done my my top 10 review, this one might have tied with Arrival for that spot. I really liked this one. This was a good movie. And again, another one kind of like Arrival, one that is kind of a, I won't say a big idea science fiction, but again, one of those science fiction films that deals with, excuse me, very basic, very simple human emotions, but uses the science fiction and the interesting locale and all that as kind of a backdrop, you know, as a tool for it all. You know, so if you haven't seen the trailers, Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence play these passengers on this spaceship that's heading to a new planet to basically start colonizing it. And the trip takes about 120 years or something like that. And Chris, due to a malfunction, it hitting a big meteorite, or a big meteor, I should say. Sorry. Chris Pratt wakes up about 80 years too soon, and he's alone on the ship for about a year until he kind of discovers Jennifer Lawrence in there, and in a kind of a, when I describe it, it sounds kind of weird and creepy, but it's not, at least not in my opinion. Kind of sees her in one of the tubes and kind of in one of those love at first sight kind of things. He researches her, finds out who she is, and he starts debating with himself, should I wake her up? Should I wake her up? Should I wake her up? Because he wants company, and he's kind of, fallen in love with her, or at least he's infatuated with her. So it's this kind of thing. Do I do this and kind of doom her to, basically dooming her to live on this ship for the rest of her life? Or do I leave her and kind of go crazy or commit suicide kind of in the loneliness? And of course he ends up doing it, and two of them are alone on the ship, and as Adam and Eve would, they end up falling in love, and of course she finds out what happens, and it's this whole thing, and there's this whole thing towards the end of the film with the ship. What was the malfunction, and the malfunction's getting worse, and they have to work together to solve it. This movie's also kind of like Arrival. This one tries to convince you in the trailers and the commercials like there's something more sinister going on. Like when I was watching the trailers, it had kind of a alien vibe. I didn't think there were going to be aliens in it, but the design of the ship looks almost like it could come out of one of the Alien movies. And they keep talking about this corporation that sent them all there. And there's this little scene where Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt talk about, the corporation and how they're making all this money off everybody and da 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 da. And the trailers and everything lead you to think like there's this big conspiracy, like the two of them woke up early on purpose, and that there was something more sinister going on. And in a pleasant surprise, that doesn't happen. That does not play anywhere into it at all. It is a total thing about these people and the choices that they make, good or bad, and kind of leaving that open to interpretation a bit. this movie does a lot of things really well. It first of all, I got to praise the two actors, because especially since these are two actors that I've been on the fence about as of late. I liked Jennifer Lawrence when she first kind of hit, but then she started to go downhill for me. I didn't think she was that good in Silver Linings Playbook, and everything else I'd kind of seen her in, it wasn't that spectacular. And in this, she's back to form. She's really good, And you kind of remember, oh yeah, that's why everyone's kind of crazy about this girl. She's a fantastic actor, and it's really on display here. And I also got to give a lot of praise to Chris Pratt, because I was ready to kind of write him off. I was getting sick of him. I mean, he's great in Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think anybody will deny that. But the problem I've been having with him is that every character he's played since then has basically been the same character, just dropped into a different situation. Oh look, it's Star-Lord in Jurassic Park. Oh look, it's Star-Lord in the Wild West. And I liked him in Magnificent Seven, but still, it was that same kind of character. And in here, he plays really against type. He doesn't have that kind of snarky, cocky half smile thing that he's always got. I'm totally in control of this situation at all times, and even if I'm not, well, I'm just too cool to admit it. No, I mean, he really does some good acting in here, especially in the first chunk of the movie, where it's just him, and the movie does a really great job of detailing just how lonely this guy is, and how unnerving it can be to be alone for that amount of time. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not trying to boo-hoo. So this is not like a woe is me kind of thing. I'm just trying to give perspective. But I live alone, and up until recently, my days were kind of like his. I had like an hour or so of work a week, and then maybe a show going on. But if there wasn't any, it was just this long stretch, and I'd go a couple days sometimes without actually talking to somebody. And I've talked about it a couple times when I've gone to the movies, and I'm the only person in the theater. And it really is this. The isolation and loneliness is the only word that can really describe it. And they really do a great job of capturing that and blowing it up to like the extremes, so that this guy's not just alone. He knows he's going to be alone for the rest of his life in this huge floating palace almost. And it goes through. Okay, you can have some fun with that. You can kind of do whatever you want, but at some point that gets boring. So that kind of concept of you can have the whole world all to yourself, but if you have no one to share it with, humans are social creatures. We need interaction, even the most misanthropic among us. So the movie really does a great job in that early going to detail what he's going through and why he makes that choice that he makes. I mean, you really see him fight with this choice, and but when he does, at least for me, maybe other people will see it and not be so forgiving, but for me, I watch it and I'm like, I don't blame him for that choice. I mean, it's a terrible choice, and you can see he feels shitty about it, even though he kind of gets what he wants. But it's one of those things of, dooming someone else, or, dooming yourself. I mean, one of the other characters, and there are other characters in this, yes, a drowning man is always going to reach out for someone to save him, or to pull them down with him. And at least for me, they do such a great job of establishing that when he makes the choice, I feel for him, and I understand kind of that bad thing that he did, but I understand why he did it. At least I'm forgiving of him. But you also understand Jennifer Lawrence's feelings when she finds out. So the movie does a really nice job of all that, and it really plays with the human emotion. There's only two things, and these aren't necessarily knocks against the film. They're just things that I think could have been done differently, and they might have been more effective. So towards the end of the film, in the third act, they go through the typical, big budget disaster film thing of trying to fix the problem. Trying to fix, what initially woke him up to begin with. The meteor had struck the ship and done some damage to a core component, and they have to do all this stuff to try to fix it. And when that point hits, it's good and it's entertaining, but it's also kind of unnecessary. I get that they were trying to come up with a big budget way, to kind of sell this thing, and now they got to have a huge climax, and this climax is, of course, where Jennifer Lawrence says that she can't live without him because he's going to sacrifice himself and all this. So it's kind of the major point of this is not so much to repair the ship, it's to repair their relationship. And honestly, while that section is good, but it's very pat. We've seen this kind of thing 100 times, and they do the same thing that you've seen in every other disaster movie, or if you've seen not so much a disaster movie, but things like The Martian, where, oh no, that thing that should be easy to work isn't working, and we have to do a far more complicated thing to make it work, and then, oh no, that far more complicated thing isn't working the first time, and we gotta try something else, and oh no, this thing will work, but I may have to die to do it. We've seen it. And while it was good, it was well made, and the actors did a great job. It was also just you could kind of paint by numbers going, okay, this easy thing isn't going to work. So there's that. And then the second part of it is, I don't think they really needed it. I was having a really nice time just watching their relationship, and when the kind of the thing hits where they have the breakup, kind of, I would have much preferred to see them just kind of go about their lives, and how do you live a life alone with another person, and eventually does that anger and all that dissipate, the whole thing about time heals all wounds. Will that go away, and will they finally discover, I do love you, and we're the only people, and I need that other person, even if, I would have much preferred that. I think that would have been much more interesting and would have kept with with kind of the spirit of the film. The other thing is, I might have played with the editing. If I was the director, I might have played with the editing a little bit. What I would have done, maybe is a good idea, is start the movie with Jennifer Lawrence waking up. And she meets Chris Pratt, and their relationship blooms, and they do the whole thing like you see in the trailers where they go on a date, and it's out during this date that the android bartender lets slip what happened, and let us kind of go, oh my god, that's really shocking that he woke her up, and she and then do a flashback to what is actually the beginning of the film, where the meteor hits the thing, Chris Pratt wakes up, and we kind of see his story leading up to it. Now, I don't know if that would have maybe taken away the sympathy for him. Maybe if we saw it all from her point of view first, and then we feel betrayed along with her, that might have made him look more creepy than I think maybe they wanted us to feel. But I think it might have been a little bit more interesting. But those are quibbles, and these aren't things that take away from the enjoyment of the film. I think the other thing, again, and I made this comment when I was talking about Arrival, is that, again, this film reminds me a lot of Gattaca, especially in the early goings. Pardon me. Pardon me. I felt that coming. Anyway, in that it's the future ship is this very sterile environment. It's this huge environment, very sterile, and the movie is very calm and very quiet and very, it goes at its pace. It's a long movie, and there are times when it feels like it's droning on, but never in a boredom kind of way. I'm never looking at my watch. It's always this kind of, okay, we're establishing things, we're feeling things out, especially given how long the characters are supposed to kind of be alone and be on, this ship. I think having that feeling is good. It kind of makes the audience feel that way. I will say though, like, in a lot of these science fiction films, this film just makes me glad I'm not going to be around for this future, because it's like, I don't know, it seems so inhuman and impersonal. So you watch it, you're kind of like, yeah, technology's great, but I don't know. I don't think I want to live in that future. So good thing I'm not going to be there. But I also give this film a great deal of credit, as I think a good film is a film where A, you remember it, B, you think about it, and C, you start picturing yourself in it and start asking, what would I do, in that world, and how would I have, if I had been Chris Pratt's character, what would I have done? I think that's good. I think that means it's presented an interesting scenario, and characters interesting enough that you want to see how you react to them. And so I put, and I was doing that for a while after the film. Like when I was laying in bed last night, kind of getting ready to go to sleep, I was thinking about it. Like, okay, you're alone on this ship. Would you have made that same choice? And taking away the point that, of course, if it was, I was going to spend eternity with Jennifer Lawrence, it's like, yeah, I'd do that anyway. You know what I mean? Just kind of imagining yourself in that situation, like, imagining yourself just kind of on the ship with another person, and kind of what would that be like? And I think that's really good. I guess the only way to say that is that it's a movie that makes you think, and that's kind of rare for one of these. And again, this one, Arrival, I like that I'm starting to see this trend of kind of the return of really good science fiction. Science fiction that doesn't just play the paint by numbers game with kind of the cliches that we're all aware of. It still has them. Like I said, the ending, while entertaining and the special effects are really amazing, I think could have been done differently, and I kind of wanted to see the human emotion play out and not kind of get a quick shortcut to a life-threatening situation. Like they could have done, like, maybe one of them gets sick. Maybe Chris Pratt characters get sick. I mean, and they make a big point of there's no doctor. They only have like a med bay that'll scan and tell what. So maybe he gets sick and he needs her help, and she has to, like, I don't want to be again another cliche, but has to nurse him back to health, kind of thing. And during that time, once they start being friends again, and if they wanted to do this kind of quick fix to get their relationship back on for the end, I think they could have done it a different way. The only thing I will say about the quick fix thing at the end is that what it does through convoluted storytelling, and spoiler alerts, I should have thrown that up first, but again, this has been out for a while, but still, it eventually, through convoluted storytelling, kind of gives them the option that he can put her back in the hibernation pod if she wants to go, and gives her the choice. So I think in a way that's good. It led to that, and say, you can go back in, and I'm sorry, but you can live the life that you wanted to live on this other planet, and do all the things you wanted to do, and be good with it. And the fact that he gave her the choice instead of taking the choice from her and making the choice for her, that's good. I like that. But you could have done that another way. Like, he's a mechanic, so maybe he could have found, while he was sick, maybe he found out how to do it. So you still offer her that choice, so you still get to the same place. But it's more of a human emotion thing that gets us there, and not this big thing. But again, that's a quibble. That's it's not a knock against it. The only other thing I'm going to say about this film, and again, kind of going back to Jennifer Lawrence, it's kind of funny. A critic I really like talks about how kind of bored and lazy she is in the most recent X-Men films. I remember watching it, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't believe that. I think she's doing all right. I mean, the films just aren't good. But then you watch this movie and compare it to, like, how she was in X-Men Apocalypse or Days of Future Past, and yeah, she is really phoning it in. In those two, you can totally see it. It's you can really tell when she really is trying and when she's just collecting the paycheck. You know, you can totally see it. So anyway, so yeah, this is a really beautiful, really good movie. Again, I love the return of kind of big idea science fiction. I hope we get more films like this that, you know, do that for us. And yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, I'd say take the time and go check it out. I'm just pulling up to the school now. Letting this person go past me so I can park. So yeah. So I hope everybody has a good week. And hopefully when I go to the movies at the end of the week here, I'm going to go see a movie that was actually released in 2017. So until such a time, have a good week, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.